Hi everyone, Armored Pants here, and I have another video for you in the Russian line. This is the Tier 8 light tank, the T-54 lightweight. And as always, we have a complete guide, and we will start with the TechSpec using blitzhanger.com, as always. Now, this and the RU-251 are my favourite tanks across all tiers in Blitz. I just love both of these tanks. They're so much fun. And really, this is an amazing light tank, and it's an amazing tank actually, full stop. But really, if you love lights as I do, this is a great tank. I slightly prefer the RU-251, but it's very, very close. I really love this tank. It has a 100mm gun, has a decent rate of fire. It's not as good as the RU-251. The reload is 7.35 seconds, but if you use gun rammer, and it has 175mm of pen with AP, but it also has some advantages over the RU-251 as well, which we'll look at in a second. It has low muzzle velocity, so you need supercharge and to get that up to 1164 meters per second. And because light tanks, one of the key roles is long range sniping in light tanks, so therefore you need to maximize the muzzle velocity because it has low pen for a tier 8 anyway. It also has limited gun depression, only 5 degrees, so you need to be conscious of that. You're not going to be able to fire over hills, etc. So you need to be aware of that. But this is its advantage, right? 69 kilometers per hour top speed. It is a flying machine. It gets around the map so well. There's no terrain it can't get over. No map that doesn't really suit it. It's just a flying machine, and it has some frontal armor, which is a significant difference on the RU-251, and this is a nice addition to this tank for a light tank. And you can get some really good relative armor numbers here. Look at this. I mean, at a push you could even side scrape in this tank, and you're definitely going to get bounces, which is an added bonus for any light tank if you can get some bounces, right? But the frontal armor also means you can ram in this tank, which is great. And if you hit something at 69 kilometers an hour, believe me, if you hit a light tank or a medium tank at the back or side on, you are going to do some damage. And if you're lucky enough to isolate a Borsig or a waffle tractor in this thing, you can just smash into it and do a lot of damage. Run 2 repair kits because you're vulnerable at the sides and back. You don't want to get caught out in the open, especially as a tier 8. You're up against some of the biggest guns in the game. So you don't want to get stuck out in the open because you can be one-shotted from behind with HE from something like a Borsig, waffle tractor or a T-30. So be careful. You don't need an engine accelerator anyway because this tank is lightning fast anyway. Again, look at those numbers on the front. You're going to get some bounces on this. If you're brawling with another light tank or a medium tank, you will get bounces on this tank. And that is a huge advantage over the RU. It also means that if you're brawling or you're face hugging another light or medium tank, they can't really fire HE with you because it won't go through. Unlike the RU, where you can be just have HE spammed at you. If this tank is front on, then you can't fire HE at it. First minute of the game is key for you, as we've said with the light tanks before it. MT25 and LTTB, so get out and spot, help yourself and help your team. Until the big guns are spotted up, you're vulnerable because you can be one-shotted. But once you spot the enemy, the map is yours, and this tank at almost 70 kilometers an hour can get around the map and cause all sorts of trouble. So the tactic should be use your speed, get out in front, spot, scout, find the reds, particularly the big guns, and then you can move around the map with impunity and safety. You can cap, you can flank, you can ambush. It's up to you. But once you know where the reds are, then the map is yours, and this tank comes into its own, as does any light tank. If you haven't already done so, please look at the light tank guide that we have on channel, or if you've looked at it a while ago, refresh yourself before you play this, because when you're playing a tier 8 light, you're really kind of up with the big boys again. So you really need to just refresh and just hone those skills. Make sure you're on top of your game. So I'm going to scout, I'm going to A, I'm going to use soft cover and see what pops up. Now, this has advantage over the RU-251, and it has disadvantage. One of the disadvantages is that it has a Russian gun, so it's not as accurate as the RU-251. And you will see that I fluff a few shots in this, not because I did anything particularly wrong, just because it is just not the RU-251. The RU-251 would have made that because it has a German gun, and this tank does not. I push up here now to cap. Because I'm looking at the mini-map and I know my allies are going to engage the CDC, so now he's preoccupied, so he's not going to be paying attention to me, or it's unlikely. Again, I know I fluff another shot here if you watch. I thought I might fluff that, and then I see I'm not loaded when he comes out, so a bit of sloppy play there. But I managed to reload. 7.25 seconds is not too bad. Put one into the side of him. Then we have him down to one shot, and he has a fantastically lucky escape here. Watch this. I'm just about to pull, and he just moves his turret at the right moment. Oh, nice. Well done, CDC. Lucky. Should have bought a lottery ticket that day. But now I know where these reds are in front of me, and I can just roll back and forward, use the agility and mobility of this tank, put some shots in here. As long as I don't have somebody running up to my backside. You can see that the gun, when you have time to aim it, etc., the gun handling is not as bad as it is, let's say, at the IS range, but nonetheless the gun handling is not as good as it is on a German tank. Now, that's what we expect from Russian tanks, right? We know that, it's not a surprise for us. But you know, when you have time to aim, the gun is decent, and certainly for a Russian tank the gun handling is not bad at all. I mean, it's not a dog to handle like, let's say, the KV3 or the IS-6, which just have appalling gun handling. The gun handling on this is not so bad at all, and you'll see a couple of examples here where I just snap off some shots to try to get some kills. Roll back, snap, and it goes in. And again, rolling up here, I just snap one off quickly, don't even really aim properly, just snap one off into the back through the drive wheel, but I just snap it off quickly because I want to get the kill. And there we go, nice heat bloom. We always love to see that. That's what the game's about. And nice kill on the FCM. Now, this game for me is kind of split into two parts. The first part I played pretty well, and even up to this point here I'm doing well. I'm doing the right things. I've got my gold ribbon for damage done. I've spotted up the enemy. I've scouted out the base. I've done everything pretty well, right? Now from this moment on, I start to play badly. And I've said this to you before on channel. I sensed the mastery badge coming up for the lightweight, and what I decided to do was then I was too aggressive and pushed on, and you could see that I went from having little or no damage to sloppy play. I take two shots, a third shot, and I get killed. I drove into the back of the T-54, really got too aggressive, really pushed too hard for the mastery badge, and I just got myself killed. So it's interesting, and I've said this to you before, when you're chasing mastery badges, if you feel that it's coming on, sometimes you change your gameplay, you move away from the basics and the things you know you should be doing, and end up you know, completely messing up your game. And you've seen a few games where I've said this when I sensed the mastery badge was coming, and I've changed up and I've forgotten the basics and gotten myself killed, or, you know, not won the game. In this case, luckily enough, we were many tanks up, and I got the mastery badge in the end, almost 3.2k damage, but mainly for the XP and the spotting up and capping the base, etc. You can see almost 1.25k of XP, which is very good base XP, and that's what delivered the mastery badge. But I could have done a lot better in that game, right? Sloppy play at the end. And I've said this several times before, and I know it's something I do, and it's a mistake I make. I go away from the basics to try to chase the mastery badge, and you end up, well, like that, making mistakes and getting killed. Just those 3 shots in the space of, whatever, 20 seconds ended my game. But you can see I got the Confederate badge, which is something great to get in a lighter medium tank, because it shows you're really helping your team, and a mastery badge. So not a bad game. In fact, you could say, well, obviously you perform better than 99% of other players in that time frame if you get a mastery badge. But I wasn't so happy with it, because I changed my gameplay and just made some sloppy mistakes, you know. So try to learn from my mistakes, because I certainly don't seem to. Anyway, I think this is a fantastic light tank, and it's everything you want from this genre. But of course you need to be aware of its limitations, and the first minute of the game, as with all light tanks, is key. Get out there and spot. Find those reds, in particular those big guns, because once you do, once those big HE monsters are spotted up, those big guns, the guys that are hungry to feed on you, then the map is yours. And when you can do 69 kilometers an hour, then you're off the menu. You can get around that map, you can come up behind them and to the sides, which is where you really want to be, in a light tank. You don't want to be front on. And the map is yours. I've said that before, but it's a great phrase because you own the map. You're so fast, right, that the whole map is open to you then, once you know where the reds are. Maximize your muzzle velocity with this. Use supercharger refined gun because it has low muzzle velocity, so you want to get it up as much as possible. And use your speed. Again, I'm saying the map is yours, but really I can't emphasize that enough. When you're that fast, you can get around the map with impunity, and it doesn't matter what map it is. And get out there and have fun. Light tanks are the most fun to play. And this is one of the best tanks in Blitz. It is a keeper. And as I said, along with the RU-251, perhaps my favorite tank in the whole of Blitz. So get out there, enjoy it, and it is a keeper. Keep it in your garage. Thanks for watching. Cheers much. And I guess all that remains for me to say is pants off.